How's your day going? Today on Psychological Depth, we'll talk about the topic, how to find a normal woman who won't mess with your head. Let's tune in together. Here's a question I get constantly, in DMs, in comments, in conversations with men who've been through the grinder. They all phrase it slightly differently, but it's always the same question underneath. Where are all the normal women? As if normal women were a species that went extinct. As if somewhere in a vault there's a registry of sane, stable, non-manipulative women that nobody gave them access to. And I always ask the same thing back. Define normal, because that's where the conversation falls apart. He can't define it. He just knows what he doesn't want. He doesn't want drama. He doesn't want games. He doesn't want to decode cryptic texts at midnight or wonder if today is the day she finally loses it over something he didn't even know was a problem. He wants peace. He wants partnership. He wants someone who adds to his life instead of consuming it. Fair enough. But here's what most men don't want to hear. The normal women exist. They're out there right now living their lives, open to connection, available for relationship. The problem isn't their absence. The problem is that most men can't see them. Or when they do see them, they don't want them. They swipe past them. They friend zone them. They call them boring. And then they go back to complaining about how all women are crazy. Today, we're going to talk about finding a normal woman, not in the sense of location, though that matters, in the sense of recognition, of being able to see her when she's standing right in front of you, of understanding why you've been missing her, of fixing whatever internal malfunction keeps driving you toward chaos when calm is what you claim to want. This isn't about lowering standards, it's about recalibrating them. And that recalibration starts with understanding what's broken. Let me begin with the uncomfortable truth. Normal is relative. There is no universal ideal woman. There's no factory settings female that works perfectly for every man. What feels normal to one man feels boring to another. What feels exciting to one man feels exhausting to another. What one man experiences as stability, another experiences as stagnation. Your normal and his normal and my normal are different normals. This matters because men often search for normal as if it were an objective category, as if there were a certification process, as if you could look at a woman's credentials and determine, yes, she's officially normal. But normal is a relationship between a woman and a specific man. A woman who's perfect for your friend might be terrible for you. A woman who destroyed your life might be someone else's ideal partner. The match is what creates normal, not some inherent quality she possesses. So step one is clarifying what normal means for you, not what your friends want, not what your father wanted, not what Instagram tells you to want. What do you actually need in a partner? What traits would create peace in your specific life? What behaviors would drive you crazy regardless of how normal they seem to others? Get specific. Write it down if necessary. Because if you don't know what you're looking for, you'll keep finding what you're not looking for and wondering why nothing works. Let me address the paradox. Good women exist, but you ignore them. She's in your periphery right now, the coworker who's pleasant and stable but doesn't create electricity, the friend of a friend who's clearly interested but doesn't spark drama, the woman you matched with who seemed nice but boring compared to the hot mess 2 swipes later. She's there. You just don't see her, or you see her and you don't want her. Why? Because she doesn't trigger the response you've been conditioned to associate with attraction. She's calm, stable, predictable. She doesn't create uncertainty because she's consistent and shows it clearly. She doesn't generate anxiety because she's consistent. And in the absence of uncertainty and anxiety, which your brain has learned to interpret as passion, you feel nothing. This is the trap. Men who've been in toxic relationships become addicted to emotional intensity, the highs and lows, the making up after fighting, the constant tension that feels like engagement. When that's your baseline, calm feels flat, stability feels boring. A woman who doesn't make you crazy starts to feel like a woman you're not attracted to. But the truth is, the crazy feeling wasn't attraction. It was cortisol. It was adrenaline. It was your nervous system in fight or flight because you were with someone unstable. You interpreted stress as chemistry, and now you can't recognize actual chemistry because it doesn't come wrapped in anxiety. The good woman doesn't trigger your stress response.
And because she doesn't, you dismiss her. You call her boring. You swipe left. You keep her as a friend while you chase someone who makes you feel the chaos you've mistaken for connection. Then you wonder where all the good women went. They didn't go anywhere. You went past them. Let me explain the addiction, because that's what this is. Your brain runs on chemicals: dopamine for desire, cortisol for stress, adrenaline for excitement, oxytocin for bonding. These chemicals get triggered by experiences, and over time your brain calibrates what triggers mean. A man who's been in toxic relationships has experienced intense chemical cocktails. The drama produced cortisol spikes, the uncertainty produced dopamine surges, the make-up sex produced oxytocin floods. His brain learned this is what relationships feel like. This chemical state is love. Now he meets a stable woman. She doesn't create drama, so no cortisol. She's consistently available, so no dopamine from uncertainty. She's calm, so no adrenaline. His brain evaluates the situation and concludes, this isn't love, something's missing. He doesn't feel anything, but he's wrong. He feels something, just not the distress signals he's used to interpreting as passion. He feels peace. He feels comfort. He feels the absence of anxiety. And because those feelings are unfamiliar, because they don't match his template for what relationships feel like, he rejects them. He rejects her. He goes back to chasing chaos because chaos is the only state his brain recognizes as meaningful. This is chemical addiction, no different from any other addiction. The brain craves the state it's learned to need. It rejects states that don't match the established pattern. Breaking this requires the same thing breaking any addiction requires: recognition, withdrawal, and rewiring. Let me talk about where good women actually are, because location matters. She's not in the club at 2 a.m. She's not at the bar every weekend. She's not on Tinder showing maximum skin for maximum matches. These environments select for certain types of women optimized for those environments. If you're fishing in those waters, you're catching what lives there. And what lives there is often not what you claim to want. The stable, relationship-oriented woman lives differently. Her life is structured: work, hobbies, close friends, family. She's not advertising her availability because she's not desperate for validation from strangers. She's not hunting for attention because her self-worth doesn't depend on it. She's living her life, open to meeting someone, but not performing for the market. You'll find her in social networks, friends of friends, introductions at gatherings, the organic meeting that happens when social circles overlap. This is how relationships formed for most of human history, before apps turned dating into consumption. It still works, it's just slower, and slower feels unbearable to men conditioned to rapid-fire swiping. You'll find her living a normal life in normal places, doing normal things: the coffee shop, the gym, the professional context. But meeting her requires something apps have destroyed: the ability to initiate conversation with a stranger without the permission structure of mutual swiping. You have to approach, you have to risk rejection, you have to be human in a space where humans exist. Let me address why flashy women capture attention, because understanding this helps you resist it. The woman who gets the most attention is rarely the best partner. She's the most visible, the most provocative, the most willing to signal availability loudly. She's optimized for attention capture, which is a different skill than being a good partner. Often, these are inversely correlated. The woman who needs attention from strangers often has deficits that the attention temporarily fills. Men confuse her boldness with quality, her initiative with interest, her confidence with capability. But boldness, initiative, and confidence can serve any underlying personality, including deeply dysfunctional ones. A toxic woman can be bold, initiative-taking, and confident. In fact, she often is. These are tools she's developed for capturing targets. They say nothing about what happens after she's captured you. Meanwhile, the good woman is quieter.
She doesn't need to perform for attention because she's not desperate for attention. She's not boldly pursuing you because she's secure enough to let things develop naturally. She's not dominating the interaction because she's not trying to control it. All the signals that would tell you she's high quality are subtle. And in a world of loud signals, subtle gets lost. This is why you have to recalibrate. Learn to notice quiet signals instead of responding only to loud ones. Recognize that the woman who isn't demanding attention might be the one most worth your attention. Understand that subtlety can indicate security, not disinterest. Let me talk about how good women get corrupted, because this happens and it's tragic. She started out good, genuine, open, emotionally available, not playing games because she didn't know games were required. She approached dating honestly and got destroyed for it. The men she met took advantage. The nice guys were boring and she rejected them without understanding why. The exciting guys used her and left. She collected rejections and betrayals until the data couldn't be ignored. So she adapted. She read books about why men love bitches. She absorbed social media advice about creating scarcity. She learned to play games because playing games seemed to work. She became what she had to become to succeed in a market that punished her original nature. And now she's not the good woman she was. She's a good woman who learned bad patterns, a corrupted version of what could have been. You'll meet these women. They'll seem normal at first because they were normal once, but the corrupted programming will emerge. The game playing, the manipulation, the protective mechanisms that now function as offense rather than defense. And you'll think, another crazy one. But she wasn't always crazy. She became what the market shaped her into. This is why timing matters. The same woman at 22 and 32 might be different people. The experiences she's accumulated shape what she brings, sometimes for the better, maturity, self-knowledge, often for the worse, cynicism, manipulation skills, protective walls. You're not meeting a static person. You're meeting the current state of someone shaped by everything that came before. Let me talk about your own damage, because this is where the real work lives. Why do you keep choosing the same type? You left one toxic relationship swearing never again. Then you found someone who seemed different until she wasn't. Different face, different name, same patterns. The same dynamic playing out with different actors. You've done this 3 times, 5 times. You're starting to think the problem is all women. It's not. The problem is what you're selecting for. Your psyche has a homeostatic set point, the default state it tries to maintain. If chaos was your childhood, unstable parents, unpredictable environment, emotional intensity is normal. Chaos feels like home. You seek it unconsciously because it matches your internal template. The stable woman doesn't match. She feels foreign, unsafe in her safety, because safety isn't what you're wired for. Or maybe you're trying to fix something, the relationship that failed traumatically, the one that got away who broke you. You're unconsciously seeking women who resemble her, who recreate the conditions so you can finally get it right. Fix what was broken, prove you're worthy of what you lost. But you can't fix the past by replaying it. You just accumulate new damage that looks like the old damage. This is psychological homeostasis, the tendency to repeat familiar patterns even when they're harmful. It's not rational, it's not conscious, it operates beneath awareness, steering your choices toward outcomes that feel familiar rather than outcomes that are actually good. Breaking it requires awareness, recognizing the pattern while you're in it, an active choice to override the gravitational pull toward what you know. Let me address the overstimulation problem, because this is epidemic. Your emotional receptors are fried. Porn, social media, dating apps, alcohol, constant stimulation has raised your threshold for arousal. Emotional, sexual, psychological. Normal inputs no longer register. You need increasingly extreme inputs to feel anything. This is why the stable woman feels boring. She's not actually boring, she's normal. But your overstimulated brain can't perceive normal anymore. It's calibrated for extremes. Her calm presence doesn't penetrate the numbing you've accumulated. Her genuine interest doesn't create the spike you're used to getting from the curated fantasy of 1,000 Instagram profiles.
She's real, and real no longer registers. The solution is a dopamine detox. This isn't woo-woo self-help. It's neurological reset. You have to reduce the hyperstimulation so your brain can recalibrate to normal inputs. Cut the porn. Seriously, your sexual response system is fried from unlimited access to unlimited novelty. A real woman, one real woman, can't compete with infinite variety. Give your brain a chance to respond to reality instead of fantasy. Cut the mindless social media, the infinite scroll, the constant comparison, the stream of images that keeps your dopamine system on a treadmill of anticipation without satisfaction. Let your brain remember what boredom feels like. Boredom creates sensitivity. Sensitivity allows normal stimuli to register. Cut the dating app addiction, the gamification of connection, the rapid-fire evaluation of human beings, the constant novelty that makes any single person feel disposable. If you're going to use apps, use them with intention and limits, not as a slot machine you pull while sitting on the toilet. Reduce the alcohol and substances that numb emotional range. You want to feel things. You want the full spectrum. You can't find a woman who doesn't mess with your head if your head is already messed up by chemical interference. Let me talk about building healthy excitement, because you need dopamine, just not from chaos. The man addicted to relationship drama is usually a man without enough drama in the rest of his life. His existence is flat, predictable, understimulating, so he outsources his need for intensity to romantic relationships. She becomes his entertainment, his emotional roller coaster, his source of the arousal his life doesn't otherwise provide. This is backwards. Your life should provide intensity, your pursuits, your challenges, your goals. She should be the calm center you return to after intensity, not the source of it. When you have enough excitement in your life, you don't need a woman to create it. You actually want what you claim to want: peace, partnership, stability, because you're getting your adrenaline elsewhere. Build that elsewhere. Physical challenge, lifting, fighting, competing, business risk, building something where the outcomes are uncertain, travel that's actually adventurous, not resort tourism, creative pursuit with real stakes, goals big enough to scare you. When your life has enough drama, you stop needing women to be dramatic. You start being able to appreciate calm, because calm is now relief rather than emptiness. You stop seeking chaos because you've already got enough. The same woman who seemed boring when your life was flat becomes appealing when your life is full. Let me give you practical evaluation tools, because vetting matters. Test 1, the small favor test. Ask her to do something slightly inconvenient for you, nothing major. Bring you something, adjust her schedule slightly, help with a minor task. Watch her response. A good woman who genuinely cares does small favors willingly because caring is what she does. A transactional woman keeps score, resists, or extracts payment. This test reveals, does she want to take care of you, or does she expect to be taken care of? Test 2, the mistake test. Make a minor error in front of her. Forget something small, get a fact wrong. See how she responds. Does she humiliate you, score a point, use it as evidence of your inadequacy? Or does she handle it gracefully, help you move past it? This test reveals, is she on your team or is she competing against you? Test 3, the gossip test. Listen to how she talks about other people, her friends, her exes, her coworkers. Is she generous or cutting? Does she assume good faith or bad? Does she own her part in conflicts, or does she eternally position herself as victim? How she talks about others is how she'll eventually talk about you. Her worldview regarding other people is the worldview she'll apply to you. Test 4, the no test. Say no to something she wants, a date activity, a request, a suggestion. Nothing major, just decline something. Watch her response. Does she accept it gracefully? Does she pressure? Does she punish? Does she reframe your no as evidence of character flaw? This test reveals, does she respect boundaries, or does she see them as obstacles to overcome? Test 5, the plan change test. Change plans slightly at the last minute, not dramatically, just shift something. Watch her emotional response. Does she adapt reasonably? Does she catastrophize?
Does she interpret the change as personal attack? This test reveals emotional regulation. How she handles minor disruption predicts how she'll handle actual stress. These aren't manipulations, they're observations.
You're not creating artificial situations, you're paying attention to natural ones. Every relationship contains these moments. Most men ignore them. Don't ignore them. They're data. Let me describe the red flags to watch for, the patterns that indicate she will mess with your head. Manipulation. She uses guilt, shame, or emotional pressure to get what she wants rather than asking directly. She implies rather than states. She creates situations where you feel bad for reasons you can't quite articulate. This is control. It won't improve, it will intensify. Passive aggression. She's upset but won't say why. She punishes but denies punishing. She uses silence, sighs, and implications instead of words. You're constantly decoding her state instead of being told directly. This is exhausting by design. She wants you off balance because off balance is controlled. Boundary violations. She pushes past no. She accesses your phone without permission. She reads your messages. She demands access to spaces you want private. This isn't love, it's surveillance. It will escalate into control that eliminates your autonomy entirely. Chronic negativity. Everything is wrong, everyone is against her. Every story positions her as victim of circumstance and malice. Her life is a sequence of bad luck she had no part in creating. This worldview will eventually target you. You'll become another persecutor in her narrative. Victim mentality, related but distinct. She's not just negative about circumstances, she specifically cannot see her contribution to outcomes. Everything happens to her. She has no agency in her own story. This guarantees that any problem you have together will be your fault. She'll never take responsibility because responsibility isn't in her framework. Let me describe what you should see instead. The green flags. Calm reactions. When something goes wrong, she responds proportionally. She doesn't catastrophize minor issues. She doesn't create drama where none exists. Her emotional volume matches the situation. This predicts how she'll handle actual challenges, which every relationship eventually faces. Respect for boundaries. When you say no, she accepts it. When you want space, she gives it. When you establish a limit, she honors it. She doesn't test boundaries to find weaknesses. She respects them as expressions of your autonomy. Emotional stability. Her mood isn't a mystery you solve daily. She can communicate what she feels directly. She doesn't swing wildly between states. She can be upset without being volatile. She can be disappointed without being destructive. Care without manipulation. She does things for you because she wants you to be okay, not because she's building credit for later extraction. Her care is given freely, not as a transaction. She doesn't remind you of what she's done or imply that you owe her. No power games. She's not keeping score. She's not trying to establish dominance. She's not competing with you for position. She's on your team genuinely. You feel that you're building together rather than negotiating against each other. Mutual support. She wants you to succeed. Your victories feel like her victories. She doesn't get threatened by your accomplishments or diminished by your ambitions. She supports your growth because your growth doesn't threaten her. Let me talk about your responsibility because this lands on you. You attract what you are. Not perfectly, there's randomness, but generally, damaged men attract damaged women. Men who haven't done their inner work find themselves surrounded by women who also haven't. Like finds like. Your relationship history is to some degree a mirror. This means changing your relationship outcomes requires changing yourself, not just your selection criteria, your actual self. Healing the wounds that make you attracted to the wrong things. Processing the experiences that created your template. Doing the psychological work that most men avoid because it's uncomfortable. If you've got unresolved anger, it will leak into relationships. If you carry shame, you'll accept treatment that matches your self-concept. If you have abandonment fear, you'll select women who trigger it because that's the familiar pain.
Your psychology shapes your choices. You can't select your way to a good relationship if your psychology keeps overriding your selection. Get help if necessary. Therapy isn't weakness, it's maintenance. The same way you'd fix a broken car rather than driving it broken, fix a broken psyche rather than dating with it broken. Many men's relationship patterns would shift dramatically with a year of actual therapeutic work. They don't do it because it requires admission that something needs fixing. Then they spend decades recycling the same dysfunction and blaming women. Let me close with the main truth. Good women exist.
They haven't disappeared. They aren't hiding. They aren't extinct. Right now, tonight, there are millions of women who would make excellent partners. Loyal, stable, caring, non-manipulative, available, and open to meeting someone. The question is whether you can see them, whether your calibration allows you to recognize what good looks like, whether your addiction to chaos has ruined your ability to appreciate calm, whether your past has created templates that keep you selecting the same disasters, whether you're willing to do the work required to become someone who can attract and recognize what you claim to want. The woman who won't mess with your head exists. Finding her requires becoming someone who doesn't need his head messed with, who doesn't seek chaos as stimulation, who can recognize quiet quality instead of responding only to loud dysfunction, who has done enough work on himself that he's capable of actually wanting what he says he wants. If you're still choosing toxic women despite claiming to want stable ones, the problem isn't the women. It's the gap between what you say you want and what you actually select for. Close that gap, do the work, reset your system, build a life exciting enough that you don't need a woman to provide drama. Develop the discernment to recognize good when it appears. The normal woman is out there. She's waiting for a normal man to recognize her. The question is whether you're ready to be that man. For now, tell me in the comments, what patterns do you keep repeating? What are you selecting for that you claim not to want? What work have you avoided that you know you need to do? Share honestly, not for judgment, for clarity, because clarity is where change begins. That's it for today. Stop blaming the women, start examining the selection, and remember, you can only find what you're capable of recognizing. So, what are your thoughts on today's topic? Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel Psychological Depth so you won't miss any of our upcoming posts. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.